What's going on, everybody? My name is Terminus, and today we are going to check out ReZero episode 16 of season 3. The last episode of the core, basically, or the season even, I don't know, right? I don't know how this is gonna be called when it continues, because we don't have the information, or I do not have the information yet. Maybe it came out in the meantime, but I do not have the information if it's being called season 4 or if it's going to be called season 3 core 2 or if it's going to be called season 3 core 3, because technically we had 2 cores already with the winter pause in between, so I don't know. But we do have a lot to wrap up. We do still have Otto and Felt and the rest of them. No, I think Felt actually went off somewhere else, but we have Otto and we have our monk dude, right? One of the thugs that is now in Felt's camp. They're fighting against Gluttony together with the mercenary company. And we still have Al and Anastasia and Phyllis kind of being in the area with Lust, although I think that problem has somewhat solved itself with Reinhard coming in. We got the thing with Wilhelm and the Austria family resolved for now, but we still have Julius and Ricardo fighting the other Gluttony, right? We have Otto and co fighting Lei, I think, and Julius and Ricardo fighting Roy. Then we do have Subaru, who should be coming back after having had a hard-fought match against Regulus and actually won together with Reinhardt. Then I think Krush is out of the picture, right? Because she's been hurt all of this time. So, but hey, Betty just came in and was starting to help Otto, and they're trying to avoid Subaru actually meeting Gluttony, which obviously, if you look at the history, you can be very certain that Subaru would probably be very emotional in that fight and would maybe be compromised, which I think is the main concern of Otto and Betty, because they care a lot about Subaru, and he would probably be very angry and very over-focused on getting Gluttony. And we don't really need that in a fight, right? Because the best thing we can do in a fight is actually stay level-headed and draw back if we have to, and actually just make sure that the city is safe and everybody's out of the city, and not just be hell-bent on getting Gluttony. So there's that. I do wonder where Betty's magic is coming from, because normally she draws from Subaru. So there's the question, since her contract, right? Because before her contract with Subaru, obviously she was able to draw differently. But now that she's got the contract, he's the exclusive magic battery, basically. And he isn't really a big magic battery. And he probably exerted a lot of his magic when he was fighting with her earlier. So the question is, where's her magic coming from right now? Question mark. But either way, if she has adequate amount of magic, she should be a real asset against Gluttony right here. And we'll see how all of this turns out, because Julie is still being mocked for supposedly his brother's memories, or the world's memories of his brother being eaten, basically. Maybe his brother's memories themselves as well. We don't know where he is right now, his brother, so which is super scary if you think about it, right? Because in the case of Rem, she was actually still there, but nobody remembered her, and she herself didn't remember, so she's basically just a hollow shell. I find it very interesting that you just fall into coma and remain hollow if you don't remember and nobody remembers you, right? There's the outside proof of your existence is gone and the inside proof as well, and then it's your soul is not can't find your body again or something like that. Because in the case of Krush, it's actually she forgot who she is, right? And she forgot her memories, but nobody forgot who she actually is. So there is and she wakes up and she's actually conscious and she's actually herself, just without the memory. So it's very interesting if we think about concepts like what does make out the human soul, right? Who are we really without our memories? Are memories all that we are, or is there more to it than that? And then furthermore, right, if we the proof that we exist outside in the world, if nobody knows us, is that synonymous with us having no identity? Because these questions have been asked many times in many media. But one of the series I love that question being asked a lot is Neon Genesis Evangelion, where we do talk about how our us contrasting ourselves against the outside world is something that defines us on a basic level, right? Like that makes a big part of how we define ourselves. So it's very interesting to see how does that actually transfer into whatever we see here, right? Like, okay, let's jump into it, see what we have here for this finale, and then talk a tiny bit about what we might be expecting. I'm obviously not gonna spoil anything, you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, let's go into that. Yep, we got the subtitles as well. Shout out to the FLE subtitle. I think it's like, I don't know what the name of the subtitle is, but I think somebody actually commented that they were doing the subtitles and they were pretty good. So shout out to you. Damn. I don't know. Okay. Either way, whoever you are, shout out to you. This is not how it works, but anyway. Let's start this in 3, 2, 1. Ooh, no OP probably. We're going right in. How very dramatic. In true ReZero fashion. I mean, yeah. Zasuge. Ooh, she's using the crystals as magic source. Of course it is. I don't know if it works, but let's go. Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna take some heavy losses. Woo! But he still got damaged. Gaston, that was his name. It's very creepy if somebody knows all of your names and everything about you. Ooh, oh, that animation is really amazing. Wait, what did we... That was a really cool effect with the shattering. Yeah, she would take that as an insult. Ooh, she's back. What weapon is she using? Not as Wait. What happened? Alright, something's wrong. Magic stuff? I didn't remember that part as much. Bro's gonna get laser beamed. Level the entire town. That's a meteor. A real one. Ooh, something of echidnas? Why did he throw up though on Felt? Holy shit, that is... Oh no, Otto, what are we doing? Ooh, it's not her real name. It's not her. This is new. Oh, this is crazy. Now there's 3. Felt is unique. Woman. The company you keep. And she knows she can't do anything here. And that is the moment. Yeah. A Pyrrhic victory in a sense, right? Yeah, it kind of it kind of got the demolition troop involved.
で大丈夫なのか。まだの使いすぎで肝心な時にお眠だったのに。
そのベティに火があるように聞こえる言い方はやめるかしら。スバルの足があるのはベティの献身のおかげなのよ。感謝と抱っこが足りないかしら。
わかってるって。また俺の留守中に頑張ってくれてたのか。いつも悪いな、迷惑ばっかりかけて。
And the sunrise.
かけるのは当たり前だから気にする必要ないのよ。エミリアも無事で安心したかしら。お前に何かあったら兄ちゃんが悲しむのよ。そうよね。
Still being a little bit soon around Emilia.
で、他のみんな随分と派手にやっちまったみてえだけど。
What the hell happened to Otto? He lost half his leg.
アナスタシアさん。
とにもかくにも二人とも無事でよかったわ。夏希くんもちゃんと男の子やね。
Shut up.
その評価も気になるけど、他のみんな無事なのか。
全員ちゃんと戻ってるよ。欠員なし。うちらの勝ちや。
I'm sure we lost nobody. Not Julius's younger brother or some other people.
当然。けどお前こそ大丈夫なのか。ボロボロでひでえ面だぞ。面のこと大将には言われたくねえよ。
よかった。ガーフィールも見た目よりずっと元気みたいで。
You seem to be much better than you look.
ちょっと怪我人らしい方が静かでいいのよ。ガーフいた。どんどこと。
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
人の上ではしゃいでんじゃ。
ミミお嬢に言われてんの。男はなんか尻に敷くのがいいみたいな。で、
ベアトリスちゃんの言うと。
Anastasia, what are you teaching her?
なんだ、いたのかよ、おっと。最初からいましたけど、しらじらしい。
おっとくん、傷の具合は大丈夫なの？
しばらく歩くのに難儀しそうですが。
Yeah, I would imagine.
ベア子に聞いたぞ、武闘派内政官。危ない真似するなら一言相談しろよ。友達なんだろ。
He's just...
都市の命運まで背負わされたあなたに、さらに厄介な荷物を。
He's just following in your footsteps, Subaru.
そんな押し付けばっかりするつもりはありません。本当に息汚い野郎だぜ。残念ながら暴食は取り逃がしました。
What is this, like, fit that he has?
でも収穫がないわけじゃありません。何？プリシラ様が滞在司教の一人を捕らえたんです。
Ooh, here we go.
来てくれたんですね、あなた。わざわざごめんね、ありがとう。
She actually caught serious? What do you mean?
この状況で噛みつけるなんてずいぶん余裕だな。
スバル、この手の輩に反省とか共感。
What do we do against her aura, though?
求めるだけ無駄かしら。
危ないと思ったらすぐ割って入るからね。
お望み通り俺が話し相手だ。先に言っとくが、助けは来ないぞ。お仲間連中は全員やられるか撤退した。
助けなんて期待していませんよ。そんな分かりきった話をして照れ隠しだなんて。本当に可愛い人ですね、あなたは。
お前たちの目的は何なんだ。全員で示し合わせて英知の書だの人工精霊だの要求して何が目的だ。
And we're gonna get some answers? Question mark? The gospel. It's all the gospel. It always has been. Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding. Mm-hmm. Chaos. The only thing the archbishops are interested in are themselves. Okay. Little overreaction.
私おっちょこちょいだからうまく手加減できないの。これ以上話すだけ無駄なのよ。
それではさ、
Holy shit, woman, stop talking. You're making me go deaf. Wait. Wait, is Subaru recognizing this?
やめろって言ってんだよ。
ごめんね。でも歌はいいですよね。そう教わったばかりなんです。
お前の歌とリリアナの歌を一緒にするな。お前のは違う別物だ。
Is that one of Liliana's songs?
言えること。
何？
ペテルギウスはあなたの中にいる。魂と魂が溶け合い、肉体と肉体が混ざり合っている。だからあなたの中からあの人を引き出す。あの人の目覚めを一番そばで見届ける。ありがとう。ごめんね。
That is something frightening.
これを大事にしていてくださいね。
スバル、もう行くかしら。この女は危険なだけなのよ。
一つだけ忠告を。暴食に気をつけて。美食家も悪食も飽食さえも。
Gourmet, bizarre eater, satiation. So there we got the three names, right?
得られるものなんて何もねえ。ただ嫌な気分になっただけだったろう。
勝手に手ぶら扱いすんなよ。一応聞けた話もなかったわけじゃない。
Just a tiny smidge of information.
そうだい、連中に気に入られやすいのがね。
そっとすること言うなよ。
スバル、あんまり慣れ合うんじゃないのよ。
なんで釣れねえな。起きるの手伝ってやったじゃねえか、ベアコ。
ベティがその呼び方を許すのはスバルだけかしら。
Al, you're not making it easy to quell my theories.
伝えてくれてありがとね。
おう。ジョーちゃんも無事でよかったな。
どうした？
Okay.
あると何かあったのか？
これなのよ。あの男が持ってきたかしら。ベティが起きられたのはこれのおかげなのよ。
キリタカの魔晶石。どうやってこれを？
わからないかしら。そしてそれは聞くなと当人に言われ
Maybe you just stole it.
何一人で暗躍してやがったんだよ。怪しすぎるだろ。
でもアルは悪い人じゃないと思うの。
No, I don't think so either.
だっておかげでベアトリスが起きられてオットー君たちも助かったんでしょ。亡くなったら大弱りだった魔晶石も見つけてくれてね。
Sometimes he's thinking a little bit too simple, but yeah. There's like this very adorable naivete about her.
反対。絶対ろくなことにならんよ。それじゃあクリシュ様を助ける手がかりがなくなる。ブンドの口から暴食や色欲のことを聞き出せるなんて、そんな都合のいいことあると本気で思う。そんなのただの推測じゃない。
俺はフンドから話を聞くのが全くの無駄足になるとは思わない。だけどあいつを捕まえておくのが不安。
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna escape at some point and wreak havoc.
スバル君はどっちの味方なわけ？
俺が言いたいのは急いで結論を出すなってことだよ。
フェリス、座りなさい。ひとまずスバル殿の方が正しい。
わかってる。わかってるから。
It's hard to keep a calm mind in this situation, for Felix especially.
王国にとっても魔女教を知るまたとない機会だ。
It is.
速やかに王都へ移送して騎士団に引き渡すべきでしょう。
逃げられる心配は？大祭司教なら護送するのだって楽じゃない。
その役目は僕が。
ラインハルトが行くなら私も行く。無事に王都まで引っ張ってってやるよ。
Yeah, but what is she gonna do in the capital? You know what I mean? Like, how do we contain her aura?
特に色欲の被害者をどうするかやね。あれは私でも治せない。治るとか治らないとかじゃなくて、
It's
ああいう生き物に作り変えられてしまってるの。
it's about if they're even the same people.
死を望んでおるじゃろうよ。元の姿に戻す見通しが立たぬのならば、そうしてやるのも慈悲であろう。
クリシラ、それは。
黙れボング。口先だけの理想論など何の価値もない。
I mean, she has a point.
私に任せてもらえない？
面白い。ハンマ風情に何ができる？
今すぐ直してはあげられない。でもそのための方 法を探す時間なら作れると思うの。
freeze them.
氷の中で眠らせて。
そうか、コールドスリープ。確かにそれなら時間稼ぎができる。
凍らせて眠らせる？それ大丈夫な？ただ氷漬けにして死なせてしまうだけなんやないの？心配ご無用。エミリア様は失敗などされません。なぜなら歴史に名を残す偉人とはこういった試練を乗り越えるものだから。
Shut up, Liliana.
随分と大口を叩いたものじゃな、歌目。仮に貴様の見立てが外れればどうなる？
その時は私の首を差し出すまで。
Alright. Easy. Let's get to chopping.
歌目のさえずりに免じてわらわの慈悲は預けてやろう。
任せて。必ずうまくやるわ。
やってみせるがいい。それをもって貴様をわらわの敵と認めてやる。
Ooh. All the broken ruins. It's so nice to see like all of the girls here because I mean they have a life ahead of them, right?
私自身死を覚悟しました。しかしリリアナの歌声を思い出してなんとか生き延びた。
And we do have like this still this speaker system projecting to all of the city. That is insane that she just encases an entire building in ice and she's like, okay, let's freeze it until 2 or 3 years from now. This is still so hard. Humans aren't really good at dealing with undefined time frames when it comes to suffering and uncertainty. The morning comes, yeah, okay. I mean, that's a nice theme for our entire arc here. I mean, this is the essence of hope, right?
お前がいなきゃエミリアも助けられなかったかもしれない。改めて礼を言う。本当ありがとうよ。僕も君の友人の力になれたのなら光栄だ。
In true, okay, yeah, I didn't need that. Stop imitating Hachikoji.
ベアコの頑張りと、あとはキリタカの行為に感謝だね。
So we do have a crystal now. So I wonder why Puck is still why it still takes time. Ooh, those are the two.
そういや、あの子たちを助けようとしたことから全部始まったんだよな。
Yeah, and it was just a few days.
街もこんなになっちまったし、あの二人の無事だけを喜ぶってのは不謹慎かもしれねえけど。
True. It's the little things though, right? Gotta take your victories. Ooh, you guys survived? I didn't hear you. Holy. But still, holy shit, that is...
そういや、ユリウスは、いるじゃねえか。なんだよ、心配させんじゃねえよ。おい、この野郎！おい、なんだってみんなが忙しくしてる時にブラブラしてやがんだよ。ユリウス！顔が見えねえと心配になるだろうが。いや、一般的な意見だが。
Nice save, nice save.
君は私のことが。
No, what? Ooh. Shit. And that's about it. That's it. Oh no, we are so fucked. We are so screwed. We are so screwed. Right, nobody was lost, nothing, everybody was fine, it's all daijoubu. Of course it is. Of course it is. Until it isn't. Yeah, I mean, obviously I knew that one. I still remembered that one. I literally didn't remember the meteor. Maybe it's because at that part I did read the web novel, which is technically a draft and not the actual like source material. Because like the canon source material is the light novel. Just like the dusted up and edited and fixed and improved version of the web novel, which oftentimes has less detail in it because certain details were just taken out because it's like maybe too long or too inconvenient, or there's some like inaccuracies in there or ideas that are half cooked or something. Or maybe or maybe like Tape gets an idea after having written the web novel and then puts it into the light novel because it's such a great idea and such a great tie-in. So there's definitely things that I don't remember from the web novel which could have been added in the light novel, or which could have been in the web novel and I just don't remember them because it's been a while and they weren't as prominent as as other moments and phases. But yeah, let's mute this for a bit and boom, get it on the screen. The results of the battle of Priscilla. I really like the background, which is kind of water, because it's like I think it is kind of a reference to ripples on the water. Oh no, that ripples on the water surface was kind of like the season 2 motto, like one of them. I think the this motto is actually stars that make history or something along those lines, and that is kind of tied into the Archbishop star names and whatnot, which is very interesting and supposedly very important, right? Like all of the archbishops have names of stars or constellations that Subaru knew from Japan in the other world. So it's like, what? Hello? All right, let's wind it back. There's not that much that actually happened this time around. I mean, it's still enough, right? But we have a couple of like concluding battles. I gotta say, I really like the color scheme of Beatrice's magic. It's really cool, right? I really love that in terms of like it has a very unique purplish pink, which clashes very well with like, or contrasts very well with the blue colors of night, especially of the night. But even in daytime or winter or something, it's really nice in terms of like the color contrast. We have like a ball of whatever coming out of the smoke, and I really love some of these framings where it's like on the ground like a prowling animal, and you see him being on all fours, basically being super quick. The smushy swords, anime staple, of course, and the seemingly indestructible body of archbishops is insane. That he's just shooting everything at them, and it's like, well, that was a dud. Seemingly, I think like all of these actually hurt, right? Most of like all of the hits that hit actually hurt and they actually damage, but the bullet sponges basically. Right, so you can't really tell, and that is the demoralizing aspect, I guess, as well, right? Think about like you have an enemy that's seemingly maybe relatively strong, but you think you can beat them because they're smaller than you, or they're just one person and you're like 20 or something, and you're trying to beat them, and you hurt them and hurt them and hurt them, and there's no visible effect it has on them, because they keep standing up, they keep like talking crazy like they used to. It's like almost like they're invincible and nothing hurts them. But obviously there is some hurt happening here. It's just they're very good, I think, at masking that. And obviously they're very resilient as well. So you do end with these problems. I did really like this one with the, holy shit, that, like the impact frame and the crackling on the wall. Crackling on wall and ground is always cool, in like stone crackling. We have the absolutely disgusting tongue lick, but I really love this one here, right? That we are, the way we symbolize that, right? Shattering their identities, basically. Shattering who they are. Which is basically, I guess they're like Sleeping Beauty's disease, right? Right, like actually like REM in coma and not being remembered by anybody. Also really cool the explanation for the magic with the magic crystal. So we do introduce kind of a new mechanic, kind of, where we're like, okay, yes, Betty, for example, is heavily reliant on Subaru's magic pool, but at the same time she could supplement with very, very expensive rare crystals that contain that magic energy. So I don't know how that works exactly. Ooh, I love that framing, right? We have the bright light coming in, and since it's still kind of like nightish, right? Not night, but it's like early in the morning and the sun is not out yet. You do have like this stark contrast of actually having having everything else pretty dark and this light shining here like a star, basically, and Gluttony being out of focus here. And we do have a media. And before that, obviously, he's like, right? He's like absolutely disgusting because it's a fake name, right? It's not. That brings up a very interesting concept, which is, wait, if Feld's name is fake, despite it being like her given name in the game, the name she recognizes herself by, would Gluttony, for example, be able to eat Subaru? Right? Because the question is, does Subaru really have a given name in this world? Because he has been given that name in another world. Right? That would be an interesting thing to talk about, right? Is there actually a secret name that Subaru has in this world that is like a given, like almost like a soul name? Or is it just the one from like that he had from birth? And then there's the question of like, what makes a name your actual name, right? Is it like the first name you are ever given? Or is there like some kind of force in the world, like the world soul, basically deciding what your parents will ultimately, like almost like fate, decide what name they give you, right? Which is almost like divine decree or divine intervention, in a way that like the world determines what kind of name you will carry, and that will be the name that is associated with you. Because like Feld certainly sees Feld as her name, the name of her identity. So it's not about what we ourselves internalize, which obviously could also be an interpretation of like, okay, what do I think myself? What do I subjectively see as my true name, right? And then people call me something completely else, but I see myself as this name, right? It's very interesting. And we do have a new ability. Somebody's turning up and it's like, I'm Gluttony too. Hello. But apparently we do have this, this like, either we are seeing Gluttony as something that she is not in this case, or she can like shapeshift, but like, the way this is shown, right, with the entire screen cracking, makes me think that it is an optical illusion for everybody, and she just decides to break down the illusion and show who she really is. Also, this is, whatever that is, it is insane. Like a white tunnel, which looks super alien and futuristic in a way. Right? What is this? Either way, right? She's just standing there, just like, what's up? I mean, she looks like Gluttony, kind of, right? With the teeth and like the smile and everything. But yeah, wouldn't expect that because we do have Roy and Lei having very similar looks, and for her, like, there is a similarity, but there's quite a few differences with the hair color and like the eye color and everything. I love this framing. Why do I love this framing? I don't know. It's like just the way her outfit, like Felt's outfit is, when it's like the ends of the scarf flowing into the screen basically, and just like having that connection to the figure standing tall there, right? Like standing as the main focus figure of the frame basically, and how Beatrice and Felt on both sides kind of frame in Louis, or Rui, or however you want to call her. Almost symmetrically, not entirely, right? We have a slight asymmetry, which is really cool. Like the best thing you can do, or like for me, the best thing you can do in a frame is like creating, if you have a relatively symmetric frame and it's supposed to be framed that way, in this case, like 2 against 1, or frame, like the actor framed into the stage, right? And we are the receiving stage, Felt and Betty in this case. But yeah, having something that is relatively symmetrical and then making it slightly asymmetrical is just amazing from an artistic standpoint, even though I don't get why that is, right? Like, it's from a visual standpoint, it's great. But let's talk about that for a second. Louis is like, okay, you want to follow me? You want to, like, right, fight me or whatever? Decide wisely, right? Choose wisely. And Beatrice is like, damn, she got me, because, like, yeah, it is the more important decision to save our allies, make sure they're alive. If they're drawing back, right? If they don't keep going, if they basically retreat and give up for this day, even if it is in their favor, it is also in our favor at the moment to just be calm about it and make sure that our allies, in this case Otto, who's bleeding out on the ground, he's like, hello, I'm here, I'm bleeding. Can you stop? Make sure that he is alive and everybody else is alive and treated. And that is more important and takes precedence over trying to reverse the fate of somebody who might already be lost, at least at the moment, right? They're not giving up on Rem, but there's like this thing about, like, she's in this state right now, and there's nothing that I can do right now that for sure immediately is gonna solve this. So, right, there's that. It's definitely very interesting. Actually, I just noticed, I don't know what that's gonna do to my thing. Ooh, you won't like that. But I just noticed my my aperture was way too high. Hope that's not gonna mess anything up. I'll see it in the recordings. I'll have to color correct after that, but it is what it is, right? Cheers, by the way. Cola, which is just at least partially has its caffeine content and its like cola-ness from the cola nut, the original one that like Coca-Cola as well used to be done from, although these days they're using the caffeine from decaffeinated coffee, which is cheaper. Yeah, we can settle our score after this. Look at this destruction. And I love the city design, roughly with the plaza and the bridges leading from it. And you have like this giant smoldering thing here from the media, which I have no idea what that thing is and where it comes from. But holy shit, whoever invented this or kind of brought it into the world, we gotta meet them. We gotta meet them. Maybe they have more where this is coming from. Might be useful. It's like, this isn't how I left it. This building used to be standing when I was there last time. But yeah, we have in the morning light of the dawn, we do have all of these reunions. I love like the smushy on the cheek and whatnot. So cute, so adorable. Happy reunions, catching up, making sure that everybody is all right. Everybody's kind of hurting. Also, Anastasia, stop teaching Mimi questionable stuff, please. Otto being ignored as always. Our running gag is still active, but we do have information. We do have some information, and we do have Raph actually being captured. Very interesting what Sirius actually says here, where she's like, Betelgeuse is inside you and merging with you, and I'm gonna drag him out. I don't think that's possible to drag him out, but also very interesting and very unsettling if you think like somebody, like especially this crazy dude, is inside of you and just merging with you, like his being and whatnot, and you're gonna be afraid that he's gonna turn you crazy over time or stuff like that, right? Or that he's at some point in time is gonna be like, yep, I'm gonna take over your body, because we had that in season 1, so this is scary stuff. I mean, we're just putting it there, we're like, she's crazy talking, but Also, I find it very interesting and curious that we have her face to face and we see the ears clearly in there, and we're not questioning that. We're not questioning that she has elf ears. I don't like, and similar eyes to Amelia. We don't question that. I don't know why. I don't know why we don't question that if it's not as clearly visible in reality and it's just pronounced for us, the audience, or not. But this is like a sinister warning. But she's like, be afraid of gluttony, gourmet, bizarre eater, and even satiation. Satiation meaning like you're satiated, right? Your satiation is a satiation probably. You're satiated, which means like you don't want to eat anymore, which is interesting. Will all surely come to steal you away. But can they? Is it possible? Do these effects act like, because like all of the other things that gluttony didn't affect Subaru in any way. So it's like the question is, does it even affect him? I mean, in the dream world, pride actually affected him, right? Wrath affected him. So Wrath affected him here, so there's that as well, right? So this question is, how far does it go, and where are the limits? Are the limits based on specific characteristics of the powers that we're talking about? So there might be some archbishops where the power is related to the things that connect to his other world self, right? That might go in that direction, that it's like, oh no, I'm immune against that shit because whatever, right? We don't know. We don't know how far that, or if there's an immunity, or how far it goes, or what's happening there. Al just sitting there being like, it's like, you sure you do know how to make those freaks like you, huh? It's like, shut up. I love this framing. Them looking slightly up, him being on the stairs looking slightly down, kind of almost like explaining it to them. Beatrice walking past him, kind of like, kind of grumpy at that, and him just like the framing, the way we this is cool. And with the dark on the left side and the light on the right side, especially reinforced by not just like the normal wall as it is on the left side, but just like that kind of a concrete or like splatter of like filler being over the wall here. And he's calling her Beako, which is like, I mean, he heard it before, right? Subaru calling her that, but it's very interesting how familiar he suddenly is with her without her accepting that or being alright with that. So it's like almost we're really skirting those theories. Like, if you want to know about the theories, actually I'm gonna lift my finger with like a 2. And as long as I'm talking about that, this is like not spoilers, but spoilers about the theory that people had while they were reading the light novel and web novel and whatever. That is not confirmed at all, but just like people have been wondering about it, and some people say it's been like definitely not like it's definitely been refuted, and other people say it's still open, we don't know. But yeah. Spoilers here. It is the Al equals Subaru theory, where it's like maybe Al is kind of Subaru but in a different timeline or reality, and kind of been here a long time, right? And right, we got like her, like we got the lost arm, we got like him not showing his face and always having the helmet on, possibly having a lot of scars over there, the eyes looking very similar between Subaru and his, whenever we like the little glimpses we do get of his eyes in certain sequences in the light novel. And like I think in the anime there was always also one sequence where if you turn up like the whatchamacallit, like the brightness of the screen. You can see a little bit of him, right? And a couple of words that he's saying, where it's like he implies that he also has like weird, possibly witchy powers, right? Like Archbishop-like powers, some authority or whatever. He's like saying stuff like, right, like referring to dying, right, over and over again and stuff like that, and just like making these little references, calling people, like being overly familiar with Emilia, being overly familiar with Berke here. It's very interesting that we have these little moments that could suggest one thing but might not suggest that necessarily. But yeah, spoilers over. There is definitely to like, we can we don't need to spoil here, right? There's definitely some weird stuff going on about Al and his behavior sometimes when he interacts, especially when he interacts with Subaru and the Subaru camp and all of these things, and weird kind of offhand comments and references he makes. So people have had all kinds of weird theories about that in the past. And Emilia really seems to be super trustful of Al, which is super interesting, right? So like that, I mean, she's a little bit naive and like nice and friendly towards everybody, but she treats him differently than she treats like a Priscilla or other people, right? That are not necessarily in her camp. Yeah. And he actually knew about the crystals as well, right? Like the magic crystals that are able to like wake her up and provide magic energy for the time. So I don't know. It's very interesting. Obviously we're debating how dangerous it is to keep Raph around, which 100%, right? Like, I mean, I understand on the one hand, right, you need to put yourself into the shoes of Felis. Like I said, humans are not good at bearing uncertainty and pain, which is both the case for Felix right here, because like the person he cares about the most is suffering, clearly, right? Is barely conscious, is just lying there and unable to do anything and to interact with anybody. And you don't know when that's gonna end, right? Because you don't have a solution in reach. You don't have a clear goal, right? The only hunch you have, like interrogating that Archbishop, making sure that maybe Gluttony is gonna be caught, but they already escaped. So there's this huge question mark above all of that, where it's like, hey, what do we do now, right? Is there maybe an alternate solution to following, right? Like we could follow Gluttony and try to kill him, but even that is not a guarantee. So there's the question of like, is there an alternate solution? Can we find somebody who helps us? But that's really difficult because of people like in general haven't had a lot of contact with the Archbishop. So there's that, like, right? Is there even anybody aside from the Archbishops themselves who could give us reliable information that we could act upon that would help? Right, and obviously that must be very hard. On the one hand, to see your loved ones suffering so much. On the other hand, also to just like have this feeling of powerlessness, right? That you yourself, no action that you take right now or tomorrow or in the foreseeable future is gonna have any effect on the person you love that is suffering. And also, especially for somebody whose main like calling is a healer, somebody who helps people and nurses them back to health and cares for them, to have some people that are genuinely out of your reach when it comes to your capabilities. It's really hard not to blame yourself. It's really hard not to despair in the face of this like adversity. And yeah, this is something definitely, if this was a real situation, let's say it is something that is more plausible and realistic, right? And like somebody is in a state, I don't know, dementia, whatever, right, where you can't help them or cancer at our current level of technology, right? Because we haven't figured out how to deal with most of these things yet, at least not to an adequate and a reliable degree. And that is a thing where I think a psychologist or a therapist would probably try to find as many resources as the person can muster, right? That is personal connections, relationships with other people that are very close to them, just like things to keep them busy and keep them feeling useful, little small goals they can work towards, and things that make life a little bit better, right? Like everything that kind of supports you in a time of uncertainty and need, that you can muster. For that, like for a person like Felix to actually remain steadfast and like remain stable and not despair, and have the mental strength and fortitude and the energy to actually keep pushing forward, following leads that they can follow, and otherwise just stay, I guess, mentally sane and deal with what's happening, right? And deal with, like, process everything that has been happening, so that he doesn't lose hope, but at the same time he accepts that there is this situation right now that you can change immediately, that means a lot of pain and suffering, right? Not lose the empathy on the one hand, because you don't want to distance yourself and just go completely numb in terms of feelings, but you also don't want to have every waking moment of your life be pain and suffering and agony and fear and anxiety. That's not a state to be in, and that's not a healthy state to be in, especially, right? You're gonna go under if you keep being in that state of alertness. Right, so Reinhardt is out of the question, out of the picture again for the next core, because they're escorting Raph down to the capital. We have a couple of, like, I like that Priscilla is, like, more or less part of the crew now. I mean, she's still, like, kind of bitchy about it and, like, standing to the side. You see that, right? Everybody's kind of huddle around the table, and just, like, you have the parties that are a little bit more close to each other, right? Subaru and Reinhardt are close to each other, and obviously Subaru and Emilia camp and all of them, and then there's, like, Willem to the side because they're a little bit closer and had more, like, interaction in the past season as well with Felix. And then you have the other side of the thing, which is, like, Liliana, who's just met the crew basically, and is just a side character at this point in time, right? Maybe she's gonna be more of a character, maybe she's gonna be less of a character, we don't know. And we have Anastasia on the other side, which, like, always kind of has been like a separate camp, right? Until this season, where she was heavily involved, but, like, we're not buddy, or just on friendly terms. And then you have Priscilla all the way to the side in the corner, basically almost like she's standing against the wall so nobody can step her in the back, basically, which is not exactly the attitude she has. The attitude, also sometimes she just turns around and puts her back towards people, and she doesn't mind that because she doesn't feel threatened in that way. Most probably because of all of her magic and blessings and whatever she has that we don't know about. We only know about her sword and, like, the magic skills she showed during the fight here. But she definitely has that attitude of, like, I'm not one of you, right? I'm kind of part of it, but I'm keeping my distance here. But she's part of the crew, kind of, at this point. Cool how the fallen chandelier also separates the two groups, basically, or her and the group, basically. It's Liliana being that connecting point. Interesting how she always hides behind her fan whenever she talks to Liliana, and like maybe trying to hide her true motives when she's, like, being friendly towards our group. And I loved the transition of, like, darkness to light when we have Emilia saying, I'll see to that, I'll make sure that happens. Kiritaka talking it out. We see the people in ice. We have, like, a last shot at Priscilla. Observing Emilia, very interesting, right? Being like, I will respect you if you pull that off or whatever, right? We don't know if that's... because she said that here. I don't know what she means exactly. The greatest people in history are those who overcome trials such as these. Yeah, and the greatest fools are those who mess it up. Right, if the estimation proves wrong, I'm gonna put my life on the line. See that you do. Once you do, I will acknowledge you as my rival. Interesting, right? I will acknowledge you as somebody who's worthy of being acknowledged, which is a very high praise from somebody like her, I do think. You see last, like, view at Garfield's mom and her children like meeting up again and finding each other. Well, I'm clutching that robe with his wife's ashes and looking into the sunset. A beautiful picture of the city, especially of like a non devastated part of the city, which is really nice. And we have like the theme of the morning comes, no matter how dark the night is, which is kind of very, very symbolic of what we had in this entire season here, where it's like, I mean, in the beginning it's daytime, but then it turns to nighttime, and this is when the battles happen, when everybody's like clutching their pearls and being like, holy shit, are we gonna make this? Are we gonna get out of this alive? Is everybody gonna make it out unharmed, right? All of these things. And I guess like the metaphor here, or the moral of the story is, at some point in time the morning will come and there will be stuff that'll be destroyed, that has to be rebuilt, but we are, in a way, right? It's gonna come for everybody, just at different times. If you think of like Alaska or something, like sometimes there's night for months and then the morning comes again. We're thanking each other. I love that framing, right? We were talking about, like, first of all, he's behind the wall, which is very interesting in terms of like the visual composition, while Reinhardt is more free in that sense, right? And the sun is shining on his back, while it's shining on Subaru's face, basically. So Subaru's facing the sun while Reinhardt is standing with the sun in his back. It's almost like Reinhardt is too bright to be seen, right? It is like so blessed, and Subaru is like looking at the blessings and not being so blessed himself, but getting some of those sunlight rays. And as we're talking about like the whole situation about like regulars, and I wouldn't have done it without you, we're looking at the former wives here, who are now free to do whatever they think they can do, or whatever they feel to do. Well, they don't have any money, so they definitely need to be just normal working class people. But in this city, I think maybe they could make a living. Priscilla is a nice city, very industrious, very mercantile, and there's gonna be a need for a lot of rebuilding and community building and whatnot, and I'm sure that they're gonna find something and some place to be themselves. And we're gonna look again at what we're fighting for, right? It's like, I almost forgot that in the beginning we tried to save those two. It's like, I almost feel like Subaru almost, it's interesting how we look at things very differently, right? While Subaru is like, I almost feel sorry for only being happy that those two are unharmed, while all of these other people suffered and are potentially dead and whatnot. And Emilia is like, no, we need that, right? We need to accept those little positive things, those sunshine rays in our lives, because if we don't do that, what do we have, right? Like, I mean, she's right. You need to celebrate like the little victories. You need to see the positive within the negative, because believe it or not, humans have a negative attention bias. We are more prone to look at negative events and save negative memories, because it is more informative to avoid danger, right? But at the same time, if we remember negative more than positive, it means that oftentimes we lose sight of the little nice and satisfying happy things and moments that we do have in our lives, that we kind of like, that's kind of the essence of what we're fighting for, right? That's the essence of what we're living for, basically. So that is definitely, like, I do love that dynamic of like, Subaru is very humble, but he's putting himself down a lot, which like he learned in the last couple of seasons more and more to kind of not do that and build himself up and accept his strong suits, accept the positives. But like, I think Emilia and even like Betty and a couple of other people like Otto, those are the people kind of dragging him up, or like to kind of like go with the theme of the OP that we had all of this time, pushing his shoulder so he's gonna be able to stand up straight again and look towards the sunrise. In this case, look towards the sunrise, look towards the positive, the good things, the light in his life, which is like, I think one of the things that kind of draw him to Emilia, because she does have that aura of like positivity around her. which can be naive in a lot of time, in a lot of ways, but it can also be something that is passionate, right? Something that is very, very positive influence on the people around her. Got the meeting with Ricardo, and I'm like, holy shit, like he's just doing it like, oh well, I'm glad I didn't lose the other one, but I'm like, bro, my bro, this is gonna be, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're just like very resilient and just an okay dude, and maybe there's technology that's gonna replace that and it's gonna be fine, but holy shit, dude, this is like a loss. Like phantom limbs and whatever, right? Phantom pain. Whoa. Cue the Metal Gear Solid meme. But yeah, this is no joke to lose a limb, especially a hand. Like humans are very, like, I mean, he's not human, but he's humanoid, so right? Like humans are very hand-oriented people, right? Like we do a lot with our hands. That's the reason we can use tools, right? The opposable thumbs and all of that stuff. And losing one of them, heavy. And Subaru's like not suspecting anything. He's like, hey, look, Julius, what are you doing over here, you idiot? Standing by while everybody else is doing stuff. And he's like, wait. Julius like, hey, wait. You remember me? And I mean, obviously, some of us might be realizing that. Others have probably not realized it at all. And in that moment, they're kind of like, wait, something's weird. I knew it, of course, because, like, I mean, that's a big thing. And she's, like, looking at him, like, very positively, like a nod, almost like nice to meet you kind of deal. And Subaru's looking over and he's like, wait, what's happening? And he's getting the sweat and he's getting panicky. He's like, he's cramping his heart. He's like, is Julius a friend of yours? And he's like, oh, no, motherfucker. I can only say one thing, and that is whenever we actually end up meeting Gluttony, they're in for a beating by Subaru, right? Like whenever we like meet them and we're able to have them like pin them down, Subaru's gonna go no mercy on them. Can't wait to see that. But this is very interesting, right? Like the dynamic this opens. The dynamic this opens is we have this couple of two people who have become really good friends after like starting off very terribly with one another. And now Subaru is literally the only person who knows who Julius is. And I think like this is the best person you could have to actually still remember you, because at this point in time he's kind of one of the heroes of the city. And he's kind of like valued by everyone, and everybody kind of knows that even if he talks crazy sometimes, he is right oftentimes. And we do know Gluttony's powers at this point, so there's a good chance that he'll be able to convince everybody that, yeah, this is kind of like a major guy, right? Like he's the Knight of Anastasia and whatever. This is kind of believable. So hopefully this is gonna go better than we fear, but obviously it's going to be a major psychological blow, because think about that, right? You are very close to your camp and the people in it, right? Ricardo, Anastasia, all of these people, right? Even like your own family or whatever. And you held like a very prestigious position up there, right? And you're very valued by everybody, and you are very close to a lot of people, and all of them don't remember you anymore. There's like, especially for somebody as prideful as him, for somebody who's built his life on that. On the other hand, I can imagine it might be, in some tiny areas, it might be very freeing. Because we felt like theme-wise, we had a lot of focus on Julius being kind of often weighed down by the responsibilities of his position, and by the responsibilities of his reputation and of his knighthood, and like what he wants to represent. And while I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna try and still kind of fulfill that role of a knight, there's also less shame and disgrace, less shame and weakness, and also less pressure to actually always keep up appearances, and maybe he'll find a way to be a little bit more true to himself than he used to be all of this time. All the time we have seen him. So yeah, this is gonna set up. Well, we don't have a lot of setup for the next season, so I don't want to spoil you on anything, but it's going to be an amazing season. I can tell you that much. It's probably one of the longest. So it's definitely like, this is 16 episodes, and I do think like the total of episodes is 35-ish or more. So we have a good like probably 18 to 20 episodes ahead of us, hopefully 20 or more, because that is a long like stretch of the story, and it is one of the best. So I do hope they tell it well. I mean, I have no doubt White Fox is going to do an adequate job. I just don't know how adequate it's going to be. Some parts of like the past seasons were kind of rushed, while other parts were very well done and very like true to what I feel it was supposed to be. But we'll have to wait and see, and I can't wait. I don't know when it's gonna come out, but I would probably assume either late this year or early next year. Kind of spring season 2026 could be a thing. Well, I'll see you there. If you like this video, do subscribe and do like it. Subscribe to my channel and all that shit. Check out my Patreon. Join my Discord if you want to get like the most up-to-date information on what I'm doing and what I got. Like if I recorded something, or if there's some plans or whatever. If you want to catch a live stream of mine, which I don't know when I'm actually gonna get to live stream, but I want to do it at some point and kind of make it a regular thing. I just don't know when I can make it regular. Or if you want to watch one of my other series, I'm reacting to Vinland Saga right now. I'm on Patreon. We're reacting to Girls Last Tour as well, which is gonna come to YouTube as well eventually. It's probably a month or two until that comes to YouTube. And we're also reacting to Monster currently, and we're occasionally like playing Disco Elysium, which I've just recently uploaded a new episode of on Patreon. So if this is anything for you, I also wanted to check out like Clair Obscur. I like Expedition 33. I don't know if I can actually do that, if I have the time to do that, but if I do, I'll definitely check it out, because this looks really cool. I've seen like the intro of that, and that seems like a really amazing game. Even from like a just like a direction and like filmmaking cutscene standpoint, and from a story standpoint, and then also just from like the unique approach it takes in terms of like the turn-based combat and whatnot. But yeah, we might be checking that out as well. And I'll see you next time.